everyone, this is Jane with Barlow Herbal and Dr. Brandon Nielsen. Here we are. In this video, we wanted to share some information about pain and inflammation.
Okay.
And this is a big topic, so we're going to try to get it down into some really beautiful thoughts that can help either get you out of pain, motivate you about why your body's creating pain. And we're not talking about pain that's caused from an injury. From my perspective.
Yeah.
To me, this is chronic pain, and there are so many layers to it. So one of the things that we actually talked about right before we started recording, was the idea that there's a lot of amazing things in modern medicine, and it has to do with, because he just asked me how my knee was, because 2.5 years ago I had a full knee replacement, and I've talked about this before with people, and I did all the natural things. I didn't use any prescription medications, either for inflammation, for sometimes the constipation that comes to it, but also for the pain. I didn't use any. I just used herbs and natural things. So, and then a lot of it was my mind.
Yeah.
And the way I took, I did ice, and I did all the rehab, and I did all the stuff. But so we just started talking about what a beautiful thing it is to be able to have a medical community that can replace a joint like that.
Oh yeah, it's phenomenal.
So
even I have a patient that they just had a baby, and it was like, I think it was 5 months old, and the baby, when they had the baby, this was about 2 months ago, but instead of being 9 months, it was preemie 5 months. The baby came prematurely at 5 months. The baby is now 7 months, so it's been on earth for 2 months. And modern medicine, this baby is still alive. It's phenomenal. So I'm just seeing the beauty of, when you're seeing the beauty of modern medicine, it's amazing.
Right.
And I just had a patient who I had said, hey, you got to get hip surgery, buddy. His hip, they go in there and it was like cement. And this is where modern medicine shines. The orthopedist said, wow.
Yeah,
and
that
he's
and trauma
moving
care
so well. That and emergency, trauma and emergency.
Yeah, and I mean, over the years, and I'm sure you've had this too, I've had people say to me, my son just broke his arm, and what poultice can I put on? I'm like, go to the doctor. Go get your, maybe after the bone's been set, there's some things that you can put on.
Now put the comfrey.
Put the comfrey in. And so I think that, I know, but that really happened.
I know it does. So, people, is there anything that I could do? Yeah, you can go and get an MRI. I need to see what's going on.
Yeah. So I
can you do anything, Dr. Nielsen? Yep.
Right.
Go to the ER right now.
Right. Well, and the thing is this, that we do live in a world where there is chronic pain, and I believe, and we've talked about this. I remember one of the first videos we did more than 10 years ago was talking about the emotional connection between chronic pain that our body expresses. And you talked about the emotional stress release. ESR. Yeah. And it was like, it wasn't the first time I'd been introduced to it, but I think that information blows a lot of people away.
Yeah, it does. We should talk about that.
I know.
So rather than, because there's so many different nutritional supplements I take to maintain, decrease inflammation.
Yeah.
So let's do this. Let me talk about inflammation really quickly, which causes pain. It causes swelling. It causes heat. All those different things. What the cardinal signs of swelling or inflammation, I should say.
But isn't there a reason you get inflammation?
Generally, yeah, there is. Inflammation is not a bad thing unless it's prolonged and chronic, like you're saying. Right. Inflammation is a good thing, but when it stays chronic.
Right.
So let's talk about inflammation. Let's talk about maybe the mental component of it, and ESR, and then
ESR, emotional stress release.
And then let's talk about fasting.
Ooh, I love that. Yes.
Yeah, let's do this. Let's talk about the inflammatory bucket that I call it. Then we'll talk about fasting, and then we'll talk about ESR to end it out. So when I talk to people about inflammation, just think of the junk, the stuff, the swelling, the heat, the redness, all of that, right? The pain. That's all part of inflammation. What I tell people with chronic inflammation is, imagine you have this bucket, right? Or let's say I have this. So here's a jar, right? So with this jar, imagine right now you can see there's a level. This is where the inflammation is at. I like to maintain my inflammation about down here. So with chronic pain, think of it as just spewing over, okay? It's just spewing over. You can't get the inflammation under control. Now, you can block it with drugs, and you can block it with other anti-inflammatories, but you're still not getting to the root problem. And that's the most important thing. Whether you're going to a medical doctor or a natural doctor, you still need to get the inflammation under control and get it under, in a sense, where it's lowered down so that you're not feeling the chronic pain. So some things that you can do with that, one of the classic things that happens with chronic inflammation, we've talked about this in other videos, is the gut. And different things that you're eating are causing, it's one of the most common, if not the most common causes of inflammation is what we eat.
Yes.
It's over and over again. And then
Yeah.
what we eat and then what we breathe would probably be a second. So the toxins in the air, and all of that results in inflammation. Inflammation eventually leads to chronic pain, whether it's in your joints, whether it's in your muscles, whatever. But so I like to think of toxins in a kind of an acronym of MICANE, M-I-C-A-N, and then E, M-I-C-A-N-E. Metals, so heavy metal toxicity can cause chronic pain. Infection is a classic thing. So under infection, you're going to look at parasites, virus, bacteria, yeast, and then the die-off those if you're not getting rid of the die-off of bad bacteria or of yeast, okay? Then I look at chemical toxicities, and you're getting heavy metals not as much from the air, but a lot of chemical toxicities from the air. Then I look at allergens, what I was saying, like food allergens can cause toxicities a lot of people aren't even aware of. And then what I like, neurotoxins, endotoxins, mycotoxins, virotoxins, anything of a die-off from a pathogenic organism. And then the last one is emotional stressors. All of those cause inflammation, among other things. So if we can get those under control, whether that be a detox, and that's why the next thing I talk about is fasting. Fasting is phenomenal, and I won't go a lot into this. I usually like to do, once a month, I usually try to do like what I call a religious fast, where I do both food and water. Be very cautious, and you need to make sure you can handle that. And that's looking if you need to do anything longer than like 2 meals or 24 hours, you need to maybe do some blood labs or make sure that it's okay. Anytime I go past 24 hours, I'm always doing like water, like a water fast. The longest I usually do is around 100 hours. Other people go longer, 20 days. There's some great documentaries on it. But find out about fasting, because what that does is it literally dumps your inflammatory bucket out in those 3 days. And you have something that's called autophagy, where your body will go out and scavenge and start detoxing. It's phenomenal. And that's why you're drinking pure, clean water, if you need a little bit of minerals, and you're purging your soul. It's phenomenal. I know you love fasting.
I love fasting. And
But-
I'm actually getting ready to gear up for a 7-day fast.
7 days. 7-day water fast?
7-day water fast.
Yeah,
because,
and there's
it's
it's phenomenal. What type of water are you going to use? I'm just interested.
I'm going to mineralize it.
You can do minerals?
Yeah.
So we have, I think I've told you about, Jalene's family has cabins, and they have this well.
Oh, so fresh well water.
My gracious, it's phenomenal. And you want to get your water tested, but this water is so amazing
Maybe
that
you have to bring me water.
I'm happy to bring you water.
Okay.
But
okay.
when Jalene...
For my fast.
Yes, I'm
Okay.
happy to bring you water.
Okay.
We will go and get water all the
And
time
I'll follow up with this and let you know how it goes.
But it is hard, right? It's well water. And the thing is, when Jalene was pregnant, I was giving her different minerals and different things. She starts drinking the well water, and she was having these foot cramps, and it golden magically just goes away.
With the well water?
With the well water.
Was it because it was so rich in minerals?
Yeah, but it's live water.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Which, makes a huge difference.
And it's coming. It's an artesian well, so it's flowing. It never stops flowing. It's so cool. So yeah, it's like this magical fountain of youth that we just love, and we'll go and get gallons and gallons at a time. So I'm happy to bring you some amazing well water.
Okay.
Anyways, so on the fast, when you're doing it, you're gonna 7-day fast. I'm impressed. I love it. So you're going to be drinking water. And what that does is just going to flush and purge. And there's a couple of things I'm sure you're going to prepare ahead of time.
Yes.
You want to prepare like 3 days in advance for
I'm
that.
going to prepare a week in advance.
Oh,
I'm gonna do
a week.
juice
Okay,
fasting.
good.
I've got this whole.
So getting your body ready.
Yes. Yeah.
And you guys, I'm not recommending to you fast, but start researching it. Because it is absolutely, I don't know if there's anything better for chronic pain than fasting.
Well, and it goes beyond chronic pain. Like the reason that I like to do
It's
fast,
a reset.
Well, it resets you. It does everything. Like if you do any type of research on fasting,
Oh, it's amazing.
there's actually a place in California, Dr. Alan Gold.
Yeah, I can't remember his name, but he's
But he has a fasting retreat,
Right.
Which sounds kind of crazy to go somewhere to go somewhere to not eat anything, right?
It's like, what do you provide? Water, coaching, water and coaching. How much is it? Thousands. Come, I'm gonna start that one. That's good. No, because you do. There's some other things. They actually do some labs and stuff.
Well,
they make sure
they
that
do.
you're okay.
And his name is It just came to me, Dr. Alan Goldhammer.
Yes,
And
he's amazing.
I
love him.
been tempted to go to his place, but
I have too, to just learn more.
well, and to
It's
well, what I
intriguing.
love is that they monitor you. They take all your labs every
Right.
day. They check your blood pressure. So I think that if you were really serious about wanting to do a reset like this, do some research. Set up. I've done fasting before, and I've done long fasting before. I don't have a lot of experience with super long water fasting, but I have experience with super long juice fasting.
Oh yeah.
I think my longest time of a water fast was 5 days.
Dang, that's
And it was
good.
awesome. But it's been a while. I'm so overdue.
Yeah.
So I wanted to do it before I turned 64, which is coming up in a couple months.
Okay,
So I'm like,
I
okay.
like it.
Yeah. So I'm like, all right, this is what I need to do. Because what I feel like this does is it not only puts your body into autophagy, which is, it basically is like cleaning out, like you said, cleaning out the junk. It takes this, it kills cancer cells. It just basically gives you this beautiful reset.
It's amazing.
And I think going into it for the reason of longevity and health and feeling good in your body is the best one, even though I know people who've gone into fasting for like weight loss.
Oh,
Which
I guess
is,
I'm not. Yeah.
I mean, that's a side benefit for some people.
It is.
But to me, it resets.
Yeah.
It resets my mindset. If I find myself, maybe sometimes I'll start eating a little bit more sugar than I like. And, about a year and a half ago, I completely stopped drinking alcohol. So I used to enjoy a glass of wine every now and again. Well,
That's
it's been
amazing.
it's been a year and a half. And
That's amazing.
I wanted to do that because I wanted mental clarity. And I wanted my body to feel good. And I was doing it socially, and because it was like, and then I just thought, well, why am I doing this? Nobody cares if I do it or don't do it. Only myself.
Right.
And I've actually had people say, oh, is it really hard? Don't you miss a glass of wine with a steak or something? I'm like, no, I don't.
Right.
So the fasting thing is one of those things that I want to do. I want to actually try to do it every quarter. I want to try to do 7 days. 5 to 7 days every quarter.
So I was doing about 3 days every quarter, and it was amazing. And I actually need to get, and that's why I've been pondering again. I'm going to be doing it again, and it's honestly with chronic pain.
Yeah.
Research it, you guys. It is absolutely phenomenal. And one of the things you may consider doing is going to a fasting place and experiencing that firsthand. Then you can come back and then you kind of know what to do. You're more experienced.
Well, but then you go in with confidence knowing that you're not going to hurt yourself.
Right.
Like because if you just stop eating without preparation, and what if you're on some certain medications?
Yeah.
Or what if you're like you
don't do it.
No, don't do it. To me, this is like, you really need to be smart. And if you think about our modern life, a lot of people eat 3 meals a day. We snack during the day, and human beings have not evolved as fast as there is so much abundance in the world. Yeah. So our biology is not set up for the sheer volume of food that we put in. And sometimes our ancestors used to have 1 meal a day. Sometimes they would go 3 or 4 days without food, and they were fine.
Not even that far back.
It's not that far back.
No, I'm not even that far back at all.
Right.
We're talking maybe 2-3 generations, maybe less.
Right. And we were talking about earlier, before we even started recording, we were talking about the depression and how
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Times were simpler, and when people would skip a meal, and it might be because, or they maybe a family would not eat because they needed their children to eat or something. And it was not a big deal to skip a meal. In fact, I'll tell you, whenever I've done fasting, especially juice fasting, because the longest juice fast I ever did was 21 days, where all I did was fresh squeezed. I did it myself. I took like a bunch of greens. I added some, like a green apple. It wasn't real fruit heavy, but it was real vegetable heavy.
Wow.
And I slept like a baby. I felt such mental clarity, and I think that unless we start to experience these things and start by doing some intermittent fasting. Everyone can skip breakfast.
Yeah.
Skip breakfast.
Drink water for breakfast.
And drink water for breakfast. And that's the best way to start.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
Just
so next time you see me, I'll have my fast underneath my belt.
Wow. And I'll bring you some water, actually.
Yeah. Oh, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
I'll make sure you do that.
Okay.
But let's end this with the emotional.
Let's do that.
Piece of inflammation and pain. So
what we're finding more and more is we are addicted to inflammation. I mean, it's like sugar. What is or the things that cause inflammation? Alcohol. I mean, the things that cause an inflammatory response, because it's very kind of exciting in the body, right? And the different bacteria and things in our body, they call for it. They want the inflammatory to be up. They want the inflammation to be up. And so what we found with mental and with emotions is emotional stress is very inflammatory. You think about stress, and what does it do? It increases cortisol, right? And when cortisol increases, we know blood sugars increase as well. And so what we found is, and I'll kind of compare it to meditation because people can understand that. But in order for you to actually get in a brainwave that produces a sense of peace, just peace, you have to get rid of the mental and emotional junk. So let me put it this way. In order for a pattern to be upheld, and you can look like even in the Bible or ancient records, communities had to have some type of an emotion. So during the pandemic, the biggest emotion, if you ask anybody, but in order for that pandemic to live, what was the emotion?
Fear.
You got it. So in order for something to live within us, and this is the simplest way to talk about this, but you have to have an emotion. In order for patterns or traditions, familiar traditions throughout all generations, there is a certain emotion or emotions that uphold it. You said you used to drink. There were emotions that upheld that. There was probably a sense of like trying to belong or different things, whatever it was, a sense of, whatever it was, maybe fear that people would judge you if you didn't. Now people are like, wait, you stopped drinking because...
I actually enjoyed it.
Yeah, so there's an enjoyment.
I never felt like anyone would judge me.
Okay, so there's an enjoyment.
I enjoyed it.
An enjoyment factor. But for some reason, there was enough of a motivator to quit. And what was that?
I just wanted to feel better.
Feel better.
And you learn about alcohol and how it hurts your brain, and it's a neurotoxin for heaven's sake.
It is a neurotoxin. So
many reasons.
So what's interesting about that is you started forming a pattern of it's okay to drink. Then you actually had to detoxify not only the drinking, but detoxify the emotions that upheld that pattern. Okay? It feels good, but she said there was something she wanted to actually feel better. She felt good. And that's the thing. In order to ascend or progress, we actually have to let go of the emotional stressors that upholding the kind of the good for something better, or even something even better than that. We may call it best or supreme or premium, right?
Yeah.
And do you feel better?
Oh my gosh.
Right?
It's
interesting.
Night and day.
So it's a little bit of a sacrifice.
It's no sacrifice. When I was done, I was done.
Right. And so what's interesting is emotional
and I was never
stressors.
Heavy.
No.
I was never a heavy drinker.
Emotional stressors are what uphold patterns or traditions. And we create these traditions. But emotional ecstasies or emotional great emotions also uphold traditions. So think about Christmas. Some of the most memorable events are always upheld by positive emotions.
Right, because think about when your grandma makes this Christmas cake that comes out every single year.
Right.
And It's like,
it's more than just the taste. It's the love.
of course.
It's the sense of happiness. It's a sense of anticipation.
Oh.
So what's interesting is what we do is an emotional stress release, this technique that I've invented. We actually help people and walk them through and show them how to get rid of these identify what the emotions are. Many people identify, like during the pandemic, everyone can identify fear. Great. They may call that a sense of unfulfillment. They may call that a sense of like holding back. They may call it a sense of anxiety. Whatever that is, it's fear, right? And then we take them through a process to be able to release that. And what's so cool about that is then it allows them to start to break patterns, familiar patterns. When you talk about Bruce Lipton, before this video, we talked a little bit about Bruce Lipton. And again, some of those techniques like Psych K or meditation, there's basically 3 or 4 things that will actually change emotional stressors. Meditation, you can do like affirmations take the longest. You have to get into your subconscious mind. You can do that. You need to get in, you can do like guided imagery, which helps a lot. And then you can get into meditation. What's the other one? Oh, what I was going to tell you.
What do you think about Reiki?
Reiki can definitely help.
And what do you think about hypnotherapy?
And the other big thing I was actually going to say, hypnotherapy. That was the other one I was going to tell you. Hypnotherapy. What I found to be the fastest and most in-depth is ESR, emotional stress release. And because we go through a process where you're not doing talk therapy, we're identifying what it is, and it's pretty phenomenal. But use any of those that will actually help get rid of those emotional stressors, and then it will allow you to change the pattern, which will then allow you to get rid of the chronic inflammation and chronic pain. So
do you have like a video or something on your channel where you talk about emotional stress relief? You show people how to do it? Because it seems like we did it a long
I don't know if I have. I could get you a link. I could definitely get you. I could do a very simplified version of it.
Okay.
And that's what I usually do for the public is I just show. I'll go and do like demonstrations and do a very simplified. And we could do that. We won't do it on this video, but I could put a link to it, and I will show a simplified form of it.
It'll be. I'll put it below this video, so it'll be there before I drop this video.
That'd be great.
Yeah, so I think that it's a multi-layered. I think the whole thing with inflammation and pain, it's not just a simple thing. But I really love that we took it to the fasting and the emotional relief, because a lot of people cannot imagine going without a meal. Like they just think it's.
But the fasting is so emotional.
Oh my gosh!
So when you do the 2, it's phenomenal. Because
now the 2, what do you mean?
The 2, fasting plus like ESR, emotional stress release, it's phenomenal. Or some type of a meditation or some type of like hypnotherapy when you're doing the fasting. Because what happens is we have such patterns and addictions with food.
It's so true.
And our body's like, you're skipping 1 meal, 2 meals, 3 meals, 10 meals. I'm going to die. I'm going to die. And that's the pattern that we've actually created, that we pass. And we just subconsciously believe that and pass that to everyone. Like if you miss more than 3 meals or 2 meals, you're going to die.
Well, that's because we've been
taught
to believe this.
Right.
And here's the thing that just reminded me. Someone sent me this little clip of, you remember the TV show The Brady Bunch?
Oh yeah, I just saw it like the other day. It's like on this old channel, and I was trying to record it so my kids could watch it, but I didn't.
It's a cute show that is great for kids if you're raising kids. But there was this little clip that has kind of been making the rounds where it shows one of the little boys comes home from school and he's got the measles, and the mom and the housekeeper are there, and they say, "Oh, you've got the measles. Go play in your room. You get to skip school for a few days." And then, but everyone, there's 6 kids. It's a blended family with 3 and 3. And then it shows all the other kids in the family all get the measles. And they're all saying, "Oh, we all get to skip school and we get, our faces are red." And it showed their little faces were red. And you could tell that it was, they were making them look red.
Sure.
But then right after that showed a few seconds of this, then it showed what our modern world shows us about the measles. And I guess there was some outbreak in Texas recently of the measles. And it was just this, it was like panic, and it was like King Kong was coming to kill everybody.
So what's the component?
Fear. And so it was like, this is how we used to handle something like the measles. It was like a no big deal. We're now building our immune system So it's like that with the fasting thing. There's such a fear that's been built around it that we now are afraid. What if we don't eat? But then you might also say, well, I don't want to not eat. I enjoy eating.
Oh, I love eating.
I love eating.
I love eating.
I agree. So I
But
think that's
it's
where some people are.
sacrificing something for something better. And until you experience that, you'll be like, I'm not going to do it. You know, it's letting it go of something so that you can ascend and progress. And then it's kind of like, oh my goodness, like, why are we talking about fasting? I can't wait to do my next fast type thing. You're getting all geared up and excited to do a 7-day no eating.
No, and I'm actually really excited.
I know,
my
but that's what
my
I'm saying.
whole
You're-
psyche is just like, can't
You're
wait.
letting go of something. Why? Because on the end of that, you realize that it's long lasting. It's just not, it's 7 days, but it becomes like, wow, what is that going to do for your health? What is that going to do for your body? What is that going to do for your mind and your soul? You just, it's amazing.
It's a reset. But here's the interesting thing. I find that when I'm in a fast and I've gone past the point where I'm feeling maybe a little bit weak or a little bit.
When do you hit that? Like 2 days?
I
day
hit
two?
that about the second day. Between day 2 and 3 is when I hit that.
I feel like day 2. I feel like day 2 for me is kind of like, whoa, what is that? And then like day 3 is like, oh, I could go 10 days, whatever.
Totally. And I was just going to say, what I find is when I'm past that point where it's a little bit uncomfortable, and I tend to get cold, so I like to do it when it's a little bit warmer weather.
Smart.
Because I get chilly and I have sometimes hard. I don't like to fast in the winter. But then what happens is I get to day 4 and 5 and I don't want to stop.
Yeah.
I'm like,
interesting.
My brain feels so clear. I have so much energy. My whole physical body just feels.
Like, don't you just feel good? Your joints and everything.
Everything feels good.
So maybe I need to go. I've never, like I said, I've only gone to like 100 hours. I've only gone like 3.5 days, and maybe.
Well, you're much younger than me. We just figured out. Like I think I have 15 years on you.
Do you? That's why we're like brother and sister.
Yeah. I have a little brother who will be 49 this year, and you're gonna be 49 this year.
That's right.
So anyway, I hope this motivates you to take a look at some options on inflammation and pain, besides just covering it up with drugs or covering it up with other things that don't seem to make a difference. So
I love it.
Yeah, I think that's a good place to end it.
Okay,
guys, let us know what you think about this. I will make sure that there's a link below this video for emotional stress release.
Yeah, I'll do it. I'll make sure there's a video.
And we appreciate you guys tuning in. So we'll see you next time.